Have you ever been in a situation where you started to see through someone's charm and control, and in response, their behavior shifted dramatically? The pleasant mask they once wore seems to crack, revealing a different, more unsettling strategy. What happens when a narcissist realizes their usual tactics of flattery, guilt, or manipulation aren't working on you? They don't just give up. Instead, they pivot, and there is one specific, predictable thing they will almost certainly try. Today, we're not just going to talk about this common pattern. We're going to dive into the deep psychological reasons behind it, using the profound framework of Carl Jung's work. His insights on the shadow, the persona, and the collective unconscious offer an incredibly powerful lens for understanding this dynamic, giving you the knowledge to see it coming and the strength to stand your ground. Jung would say that a narcissist operates primarily from their persona, which is the mask they present to the world. It's a carefully constructed public image designed to gain admiration and approval. For a narcissist, this persona isn't just a social tool. It's their entire, fragile sense of self. They invest all their energy into this outer shell, believing that if others admire them, they must be admirable. They are constantly seeking what Jung called narcissistic, supply the validation, attention, and praise from others that fuels their sense of self-importance. When their usual manipulative tactics work, when you are easy to control, when you give them the validation they crave, their persona is reinforced. They believe they are the charming, powerful, and superior person they pretend to be. However, when they encounter someone who is grounded in their own sense of self, someone who refuses to be manipulated, their persona is fundamentally challenged. You aren't playing their game. You aren't giving them the emotional supply they need to sustain their fragile ego. For a narcissist, this is not just a minor inconvenience. It's a psychological threat of the highest order. It signals to their unconscious that their carefully built identity is not as real or as powerful as they believe. It forces them to confront a reality they are desperate to avoid. When this happens, the narcissist can't simply accept that you are an independent person with your own boundaries. Their ego, which is a key part of their psychological makeup, is too fragile to handle that kind of reality. They interpret your independence not as a sign of your strength, but as a personal attack on their authority and worth. This is the moment the pleasant mask starts to slip, and their repressed, unintegrated shadow self begins to emerge. The shadow contains all the negative, disowned parts of their personality, their deep-seated insecurities, their feelings of worthlessness, their rage, and their inner chaos. This is where the one predictable thing they'll try comes into play. When a narcissist sees you as difficult to manipulate, they will abandon the attempts to control you through charm or flattery, and will instead turn to devaluation and public shaming. They will launch a covert, or sometimes overt, campaign to discredit you. Why? Because if they can't control you, they must control how others see you. If they can't make you obey them, they will try to make you seem less worthy, less intelligent, or less stable in the eyes of others. This is a desperate attempt to reassert their perceived superiority and regain control of the social narrative. Jung's insights help us understand this as a powerful act of projection. The narcissist is unable to face their own inner chaos and feelings of inadequacy. They are deeply afraid of being seen as the small, fragile, and unworthy person they are unconsciously. So, they project these disowned parts of themselves onto you. By painting you as crazy, difficult, or unstable, they are, in effect, trying to unload their own shadow onto you and convince the world that you are the one with the problem. This not only makes them feel superior again, but it also serves a secondary purpose. It isolates you, making you feel alone and confused, which could eventually make you easier to manipulate in the future. Their tactics might involve subtle gossip, spreading outright lies, or subtly turning your friends or colleagues against you. They will twist your words, misrepresent your intentions, and frame you as the villain in a story where they are the innocent victim. They will find your perceived weaknesses and magnify them to others. They are trying to rebuild their shattered persona in the eyes of their audience by tearing yours down. It's a way for them to regain control of the social narrative, since they failed to control you directly. The good news is that understanding this process is your greatest defense. Jung taught that individuation, the process of becoming a whole and integrated self, is the key to psychological resilience. A person who is well on their path of individuation is grounded in their own values and is not dependent on a narcissist's approval. You know your own truth. Your sense of self is not defined by what a narcissist thinks of you or what they say about you. When you have a strong connection to your own self, you can recognize the narcissist's projection for what it is: a desperate attempt to externalize their inner turmoil. You want to internalize their devaluation because their words don't resonate with your reality. Their attacks won't land because you are not the recipient. You are merely the screen onto which their shadow is being projected. This understanding also gives you the power to respond strategically, and often, the most powerful response is to simply disengage. Trying to argue with a narcissist who is in this state is like trying to fight with a shadow. You cannot win. It only gives them more energy. The best response is a deep, inner calm rooted in your own self-worth. You don't need to defend yourself to a person who is incapable of seeing your truth. Instead, you can choose to set firm boundaries, disengage from their drama, and focus your energy on people and relationships that are genuine and supportive. This is the ultimate power you have. When a narcissist can't manipulate you and sees that their campaign of devaluation is not affecting you, they lose all power. They are left with nothing but their own inner emptiness and must go find a new source of supply. They may move on to a new target, but you will have walked away with a profound lesson in psychological strength and self-possession. Understanding this dynamic, as illuminated by Jung, gives you the insight to not just survive these encounters, but to use them as a catalyst for your own deeper, more powerful individuation. You become the conscious, integrated person who is no longer a pawn in someone else's psychological game. Thank you for joining me today.